Hello there, this is Jillian, and today we're going to have a journal with me video wherein I will show you how I make my journal. Today's theme is actually from a Korean series which I recently watched. It's called Itaewon Class, and I really like the series, so I got inspired and thought that maybe it would be a good spread for a journal. So I went to Pinterest and typed Itaewon Class characters, art, fan art, drawings, cartoons, and there were lots of them. And because I'm not that good at drawing faces and people, I actually looked for the soju bottle, which I think was one of the simplest yet iconic for the series. And I also wanted to draw the pub or like their shop. So here, as you can see, before I started, I already had a drawing of the pub, and then I went on to look for my kids' watercolor because I don't have the professional watercolors. All I have are the watercolor of my kids, and that's okay because I'm not into watercolor anyway. But for this specific project, I really wanted to use watercolor. And for the brush, this is actually a Windsor flat brush. This was given to me by my tutie, who was 7 years old when she gave it to me, and she told me to make a video using this brush. And it took me, I think, 6 months before I could actually make a video. So here for the wall of the pub, I'm using black and I'm dipping it to a little white just to make a gray color. So I'm starting with the walls and then some parts of the roof and the lines that I want to be darker or highlighted. I started with that. I actually don't know how to watercolor. This is just my first try to use watercolor on my spreads, and this is my first time to try, and I am so afraid actually to just mess this up and try to repeat everything. Oh no, I don't want that to happen. So I am trying to be very, very careful here. I just want it to be as simple as possible and have that watercolor theme going on. I also use the brown, but I try to make it really, really light. So I used the brown and added a little white for the windows, because in the original photo, I should have placed the photo here. In the original photo that I was copying, there's this like brown inside, yellow and green lights. So I'm not trying to copy it as it is. I just tried to get some of the details that I want to include in my drawing and in this painting. And as you can see, I'm using just the flat brush, even for the thin lines. That is because this is the only brush available right now. I gave all my brushes 6 months ago. When I was decluttering, I thought I wouldn't be in need of them, so I gave all of them away. To be honest with you, this is a very long video. I think for a journal, this is around 30 minutes or more. And if you want to mute the video and speed up the process, it's okay. I've actually uploaded the first video without the voiceover, and many people suggested to add a voiceover. That is why I am here doing the second video with the voiceover. So if you don't want to hear my voice, it's completely okay. Just turn off the sound, turn it off or mute it, and go on and speed up the process by choosing the option there for speed. Make it 2 times or 3 times if you want. I just finished adding details in the windows. There inside the pub, there are like Asian dividers, wooden dividers. So I added vertical and horizontal lines. Now I'm trying to add texture on the walls by adding gray and white details, actually just darkening some of the lines. And here I'm adding like clouds as backgrounds, but they cannot be seen here. So it's just really white and a very, very light touch of black to make it light gray. I'm doing this because later on I'll be adding lights in that area, so I want there to have a little contrast. I want it to have a little contrast. See, now I'm starting to add yellow to the lamppost here, so just like streaks of light. I'm also adding some inside the pub, so that's like behind the window. And I'm also adding yellow on the lower part of her hair, of the girl's hair, because her hair is like a half black and half blonde. Now I am dipping my brush in green, and I want it to be light green first for the name, Dan Bam. And this part is a bit tricky because again I have a flat brush and I'm just trying to use the tip of the brush. So this is also for the leaves on the left side of the pub. I also added green inside the pub for the lights, for the Christmas lights, along with the yellow. Now I'm trying to darken or adding some dark green inside the lettering, hoping it will have like that neon light effect. Now along the rooftop, I'm adding some greens because I remember there in the series there were plants there, so I want to add some greens there. I'm also adding reds because I remember in the series there were red chairs and tables there, so or bean bags or cushions, so I want to add that there. Now I am starting with the soju bottle. I remember it's very iconic, it's green, so I'm putting green, a little light, and a combination of the dark green. And the small glass, the shot glass, is colored blue. That's why I'm using the blue one here. This one is the tower that you will always see in the series. Whenever they're talking or whenever there's in the bridge part, you will always see this tower. So I just added it. It's not that detailed, but it's the tower. It looks like a tower. And now I'm painting the menu board outside, which is usually seen outside the pub. At this point, I just realized how important it is to have different kinds of brushes, especially the small ones, because I felt I wanted to zoom everything, and I realized I wasn't doing this in digital. So it's very important. Now I realize how important it is to have the small brushes. And because I don't have it, I'm just going to add details later using calligraphy brush pen and some colored pens later. I think on this menu board there's a drawing of a beef plate with, or pork plate maybe, a meat plate with lettuce. So I think the green part of this menu board really helped pop the colors out. Okay, this is the hardest part probably in this spread. I'm not that good at drawing people, even the face. I did not even include it here. So this is the trickiest part because painting the hair and the jacket was really hard for me. I didn't even put a lot of details there. I know that if I mess this part up, I will not continue it anymore. I will just trash the whole thing. Okay, now I'm adding like yellow and white to the background just to fill up the space. And now I'm using this calligraphy brush pen to add details to the lines, or to highlight the lines and add texture here and there. and this part of the window wherein I want the borders to be highlighted. Now, I don't know the name of this brush, but it's really good. It's in Japanese or Korean, maybe. I really don't know. So I bought it somewhere in the thrift stores here. We call it 5 real store, where you can buy everything for 5 reals. And I don't know the name because it's in Japanese or it's in another language that I just can't read it. Later, maybe I can show you what it is or how it looks like. Maybe you know or you can read it. I just don't really know how to give you the name. So this is how the brush set looks like. I don't know if you can find it in the stores near you. Okay, here I'm just using the tip of the brush pen because it is very vibrant in color. All you have to use is the tip and it will give you streaks of yellow in this case. And even if I use brown, it gives that vibrant color and adds detail to what you are painting on or what you are coloring on. Here, since there's already a watercolor at the base, this part is actually more on just giving extra detail and texture to the drawing. So here I'm not coloring everything using the brush. I'm just adding like lines here and there just to add highlight. Now I'm using a fine class pen. That's the name of the brand, Class. And I'm using the brush side. The other side has a fine tip side, but this one is the brush side. So I'm just adding little details to the leaves and even in the menu board. Here I'm using the same fine liner but of color black, and I'm just outlining the people on this page. So I am trying again to be very careful on this part because, like I've said, I'm not that good at drawing people and figures. So I try to be very, very careful doing it. And now the writing part, the calligraphy part, and the written words part. Okay, these are the words that I like doing. Actually, this is the main focus of my spreads, the notes part, and the drawing part, the painting part. That's actually just the accent that I add to my spread or journal. So here I try to erase all the pencils that I used. For continuing, I wrote in pencil the outline and things that I want to include in this spread. Now, I'm very careful in this part because the painting is done already and I just have to make sure this part is okay. And I know myself, I won't be doing it all over again if something messes up in this area. So I'm very careful now. I'm just outlining the marker or the calligraphy brush pen, and then after that I started doing the title. I'm using Sarasa pen 0.5, and now the title I chose for this is the 10 business lessons to learn from Itaewon Class. And maybe that's me. Whenever I watch something or read something, I just really have to get the lesson out of it. I know there's more to the story than just being an entertainment. There's always something to learn in it. So after watching it, even while watching it, I was taking notes down, at least in my mind, of the things that I learned while I'm watching it. Now, I don't really know if you will still be interested in this part. If you're into arts and just watch this because of the painting, it's okay. And if you are starting your own shop, or maybe you are planning to start your shop, art shop, or maybe you've already started one and you're in the middle of your business, I hope the business lessons I've learned here can actually help you also in your journey to being a successful owner of a business. Okay, the first one is gaining knowledge when you're starting your own business. Even before you start your business, it is very important to research, read books, get the knowledge you need or the information you need about the business, not just the craft that you are into, but even the business side, because this is where most crafters or artists fail. They just want the art part, but the business side, the managing of the business, they try to ignore it and they fail in the process. So it is very important to do both, to study arts and then manage or try to learn something about how to manage the business. Number 2 is invest and save, or save and invest. Before even starting your own shop or your own business, I suggest that you save money in preparation for the business. You have to at least have enough funds to buy, or budget to buy the things you'll need for your shop, the materials you need in order to start your own business. And third is have a plan. In the story, the main character had this 5-year, 10-year, and 15-year plan. He was so focused on reaching his goals that whenever he would have minor setbacks, he would rise up again, because the weight of the 15-year plan or his vision is heavier, and his desire to accomplish them helped him because he had his focus on those things instead of the minor setbacks. And number 4 is invest in people. The main character here invested in his people. He did not always think about business or money. He would always make sure to empower his people first. He would empower his staff. He would train them, mentor them. He kept mentoring even if they failed. And in return, he got their loyalty, and those people were the ones who helped him reach his goals. When people are mentored, when people are trained, when they are corrected, when they are being molded, they feel the value of being there. They know that they are important and not just to be thrown away every time they fail. And that is the strength of the main character in the story. He would always empower his team. He would always empower the people around him, making sure they realize the value of life itself. Number 5 is hire people who are better than you. In the story, the main character was not hesitant to hire people who are more knowledgeable than him when it comes to running the business or managing the business. Even though the people he would hire were usually younger than him, he didn't mind. As long as these people could do the job well, it's okay. He also gave these people full authority and confidence in doing their jobs. He was not limiting them. He gave them their full confidence that no matter what decisions these people would do, he would always back them up. And the 6th lesson from the Itaewon Class is to give people equal opportunity. In the story, Zeroy hired an ex-convict, a transgender, a foreigner, and a young woman who never got into college. And that was okay for him. That was enough for him to build a team. As long as there is willingness and as long as these people are willing to work for you, are dedicated, regardless of their background, you have to give them your full trust and you have to start from that desire. Number 7 is be willing to start small. Every big company started as a small business, and that is okay because that's really how it should be. The learnings, the struggles, everything that you've experienced as a small company is actually what's going to help you, because they will serve as your steps or stepping stones in order for you to reach the next level of success for your business until, for example, you become a corporation. Number 8 is know your competitors. I know for some people they try to ignore or they try to stay away as much as possible from their competitors, but actually it shouldn't be that way. You have to know your competitor. You have to know what makes them the best. For example, if they're number 1, like in the story, you have to know the in and outs of how they do business as well, and learn from them, learn from their mistakes, learn from their strategies. But you don't have to copy exactly how they do it. You have to learn how to improve the same strategy and apply it in your business. Number 9 is celebrate with your team. Whether it's a small victory or a big victory for the company, you always celebrate with those who have worked hard for it. Number 10, the last one, is to grow with your team. In the story, when the main character became a CEO, all those who were with him from the start got promoted as well. They rose up as a team. A team that has been mentored well rises up with the team leader, or in this case, the main character. That's it. Thank you for watching. If you're still listening, thank you. I hope you've learned a lot from the 10 lessons or 10 business lessons from Itaewon Class. So now I'm just finishing up. I want to put outlines in the drawings to make it pop a little. So I'm using this fine liner. And by this time, the watercolor is all dried up already, so it's easier. It's easier to put the outline. But I realized I didn't want the fine liner, so I switched back to Sarasa pen 0.5. And I'm using this Sarasa pen for all the outlines for the rest of the drawings. I usually use the Sigma micro pens, but they're not available and I cannot go out to buy them, so I switched back to Sarasa. The reason why I switched back is because a while ago I used the fine liner. It was black, but when you look at it, it looked gray. It was very light and I want the drawing to pop, so I switched back to the darker Sarasa. And then I went back to the restaurant drawing by outlining some of the lines. I was trying to make the painting more alive. I feel like when there's an outline, it looks more lively. I don't know, maybe it's just for me, but I like it that way. I'm still finding my own style when it comes to journaling. Although I look at some of the journals, I get inspired by them, but I still want my own style when it comes to journaling. And mostly, I think I'm leaning on the style wherein there are lessons to, like, notes on the notebook, and then there's just accents of the drawings, paintings, stickers if I have some. So in this case, the lessons from a series and then the drawing of the iconic parts of the story or the series. So I think this will be my style for journaling and I like it. By the way, if you would like to look for inspiration when it comes to journaling, I highly suggest at Katie Journals on Instagram. She recently started her YouTube channel, and then there's also Ina Christina, and then Paper Cat Co. I will try to put their links down in the description box. And for the tools that I use, I'm not sure if I will be of great use when it comes to pens, because as I've said before, the I bought it from the local stores here, and they usually are in another language, so I don't know if they are sold in other places. But for the notebook, I use this IKEA notebook. Yes, they have a notebook, and they cost around 9 to 15 reals, I think. I'm not sure, but in one pack there are usually two notebooks. And then in each notebook, there's a paper that is a guide, like a ruled one, the one with lines, and the one with grids. And that's it. If you have questions, suggestions, recommendations, please put them in the comment section below. And if you're interested in videos like this, anything related to journaling, to life lessons, to anything creative, just feel free to subscribe to my channel. And if you are more into reading blog posts and articles, just head on to my blog, www.islischillian.com.